What is up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today let's get started with Paddy Pimblett reacting to Ilia Topuria win. Now that Ilia Topuria has retained the UFC featherweight crown, a showdown with Paddy Pimblett anytime soon seems unlikely. Following Topuria's impressive win at UFC 308, the baddie explained why he believes he can defeat the featherweight champion. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. For some time now, Pimblett and Topuria have exchanged verbal jabs. In recent months it has been Pimblett who continues to talk about a potential showdown, while Topuria has largely shut down the discussion. After Topuria finished the legendary Max Holloway at UFC 308 on Saturday, Pimblett was quick to claim that he would beat the Georgian Spanish fighter.
Heavy. Hand sanitizer boy with the win. Heavy. Well done, Ilia. Give you as you got. 16-0. Hand sanitizer boy. Can't wait for him to come back up to lightweight. Still think I beat him. I really do. I still think I beat him, mad, whether he's just beat Max Holloway or not. I still think I beat him, mad, by kicking him on the feet or taking him down or submitting him. I genuinely think I beat him, but congrats, Ilia Topuria.
On account of both men growing fan bases, there is no doubt that a Topuria-Pimblett fight would generate a lot of interest. That said, it seems very unlikely to happen anytime soon. Topuria currently competes at 145 pounds, and if he does move up to 155, it would likely be for a title shot or an even bigger fight. A clear example came after Topuria's big win when Conor McGregor shared his thoughts about El Matador on social media. McGregor wrote that Topuria is a good little fighter but too small for anything substantial in his opinion. He added that Topuria was getting chewed up and claimed that he beat every featherweight currently in the mix. McGregor stated that he is the menace of that division and that he hurt and finished everyone on that list, while saying that none of them ever laid a glove on him. When Topuria was asked to respond while speaking to the media, the featherweight champion fired back at the polarizing star. He said that McGregor is sick and has problems to fix in his mind. Topuria added that McGregor needs to learn respect and how to treat people, or he will end up badly in life. He warned that following those values leads to bad outcomes and told McGregor to ask God to never cross paths with him. Topuria said that if they ever meet he will hurt him. As expected, these comments quickly spread across the internet and sparked discussions about a potential clash between Topuria and McGregor.
This guy is a superstar. This guy is an absolute superstar. As I'm saying this right now, the last guy that we felt this way about, Conor McGregor, tweeting 43 seconds ago, "Call me." Say what you will, it would 1000% be one of the biggest fights.
This fight would generate truckloads of cash for the UFC, but the big question is what weight class it would take place in. Many fans have a hard time seeing Conor McGregor making lightweight these days, and welterweight does not seem like a realistic option either. What do you think? Islam Makhachev will not be moving weight classes? Not long ago, Islam Makhachev spoke about moving up to welterweight to challenge for that division title. Recently, one of the lightweight champions' coaches confirmed that those plans are now on hold. If you follow Makhachev, you know that winning another belt has always been one of his goals. When Leon Edwards was holding the UFC welterweight title, Islam floated the idea of moving up to 170. However, in a recent interview with Submission Radio, his coach Javier Mendez explained that Islam will not move up as long as Belal Muhammad holds the belt. This is because Belal has trained with Makhachev and Team Khabib and they are close friends. Could we see Makhachev defend the lightweight title against another division champion in the near future? One possible name is Ilia Topuria. Topuria has also said that winning a second belt is on his bucket list. Mendez was asked to share his thoughts on Topuria's impressive win, and he had high praise for El Matador boxing. He said that Topuria is probably the best boxer in the entire division and that his boxing is extremely sharp and effective. Mendez added that Topuria boxing is his strongest attribute and called him very impressive. He went even further by saying that Topuria is the best boxer in MMA today and possibly in the entire world. When breaking down a potential fight between Ilia and Islam, Mendez explained that it would not be smart for Islam to try to box with him. He said that going boxing for boxing against Topuria would be a mistake, just like it would be a mistake for Ilia to try to go submission for submission with Islam. According to Mendez, it all comes down to strategy, preparation, and how fighters adjust during the fight. What do you think? Do you see Topuria and Makhachev fighting in 2025, and who would you pick to win if it happens? Dustin Poirier talks about Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler will get his chance at UFC 309 to avenge his 2021 loss to Charles Oliveira. According to Dustin Poirier, who has fought both men, Chandler may be headed for another loss against Du Bronx. When Chandler first fought Oliveira at UFC 262, he was stopped early in round 2 by the former lightweight champion. Ahead of their rematch on November 16, Poirier shared his thoughts with ESPN. He said it is a fun matchup but believes Oliveira will win if he fights with the same mindset he had against Poirier and in the first Chandler fight. Poirier acknowledged that Chandler is explosive and dangerous but feels that Oliveira is better both on the feet and on the ground. Poirier's opinion makes sense when you consider that Oliveira holds the UFC record for most finishes with 20 and has already beaten Chandler once. What do you think? Can Chandler even the score at UFC 309? The MMA community goes off on Dana White for comments. If you thought the ongoing feud between Dana White and Francis Ngannou would cool down during UFC 308, think again. Tensions have flared up again following Ngannou's successful PFL debut. White once again claimed that Ngannou could have made more money by staying in the UFC and suggested that he avoided fighting Jon Jones out of fear of losing. White also said that he wanted to cut Ngannou back in 2018 after losses to Stipe Miocic and Derek Lewis. Ngannou has fired back by accusing White of being bitter over his decision to leave the UFC. He also claimed that the promotion promised him extra money for his fights against Stipe Miocic and Cyril Gain, which he says he never received. During the UFC 308 post-fight press conference, Dana White was asked about these claims. The UFC president dismissed them and denied that the organization owes Ngannou any money before launching into another sharp response.
Me praying for it, trust me, I don't think about Francis that much. You guys asked me the question about the PFL, and I responded. Other than that, the only one who's praying for his demise is probably the PFL, because they signed a contract with a guy that doesn't deliver any numbers in ticket sales or pay-per-views. So, and they got to keep paying this guy for however long. And good for him, and not good for them. I didn't like Francis as a person. Wasn't a guy I wanted to do business with. My boys were telling me he's misunderstood, and I told them, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Yeah, it wasn't about him becoming the heavyweight champion of the world. Francis isn't a...
It was not long ago when Dana White was calling Francis Ngannou the baddest man on the planet and questioning whether Jon Jones really wanted to fight him. These recent comments sparked strong reactions across the MMA community. Many fans said it must be crazy for fighters like Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and others who personally know Francis and view him as a great person to watch their boss try to paint him in a negative light simply because he asked for a raise. Some called it a toxic workplace and pointed out the hypocrisy of questioning a fighter's character. Fans praised Francis Ngannou for forcing Dana White to expose what they see as bitterness and insecurity. Many believe no other MMA fighter has ever made the UFC leadership look this bad. According to fans, Dana knows the UFC looks bad for letting Francis walk and now continues to disparage him to justify that decision. They also questioned why the promotion tried so hard to re-sign Ngannou if he was supposedly such a problem. Others pointed out that the UFC is being sued for underpaying fighters, while Ngannou coaches have said he gave them their biggest payday from the Fury fight. To many fans, Ngannou simply refused to bow down, and that is where the real issue lies. One thing seems certain: as long as Dana White remains the UFC CEO, Francis Ngannou will not be returning to the octagon. Israel Adesanya reacts to a UFC call-out. After shocking the MMA world with a highlight reel knockout at UFC 308, Shera Magomedov raised eyebrows by calling out Israel Adesanya. However, based on Adesanya reaction, it does not appear that he is pushing for the UFC to make that fight. Anyone who watched UFC 308 saw Shera Bullet deliver one of the most memorable finishes in recent history by knocking out Armen Petrosyan with back-to-back spinning back fists. After the fight, Magomedov told Daniel Cormier that he is the best striker in the division and claimed he would smash Israel Adesanya. Adesanya was live streaming a watch party, and when the call-out happened, the former champion seemed unfazed. He brushed it off and questioned why his name was even mentioned. While Adesanya did not completely shut down the idea of the fight, he did not show much interest either. Considering that Adesanya is ranked number 2 in the middleweight division and Magomedov is not yet ranked in the top 15, it makes sense that his team would advise against taking that matchup. Adesanya has very little to gain from the fight at this stage. That said, Magomedov appears determined to make it happen and later told the media that the only way the fight does not happen is if Adesanya refuses.
I beat his friend and sparring partner Blood Diamond in China, and I was ready to fight him. You know, Israel is very popular in China, but then he switched to MMA and signed to UFC, and now I'm here too. The only way for Israel Adesanya to avoid the fight with me is to retire.
It will be fascinating to see if Shera Bullet and Israel Adesanya end up fighting in 2025. What do you think? Is this a fight Adesanya might take just to prove who the better striker really is? Dana White breaks silence on Shane Carwin. Many fans are still reacting to the disturbing medical issues recently shared by several former fighters as part of the effort to approve the $375 million antitrust lawsuit settlement against the UFC. One of the most concerning disclosures came from former interim heavyweight champion Shane Carwin. Following UFC 308, Dana White was asked about Carwin's situation. In his court statement, Carwin revealed that cognitive testing conducted at the Cleveland Clinic, the Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health, and the Concussion Legacy Foundation at Boston University indicated damage to his prefrontal cortex and left hemisphere. He said he has spent days in bed suffering from paranoia, fear, and anxiety, has been hospitalized twice for addiction treatment, and has been unable to maintain focus enough to hold an engineering job. Carwin also stated that he struggles with basic life skills and everyday expenses, including food, shelter, and transportation. When asked about these claims, Dana White said the UFC has been helping Shane Carwin and has been working with him for a long time. White did not provide specific details about what that help includes and was not pressed further. What do you make of Dana response? Conor McGregor retires after seeing Robert Whittaker's shattered jaw. Concern from a fan on social media sparked another wave of controversy. The fan posted about Whittaker loss to Khamzat Chimaev, explaining that Whittaker tapped quickly because his jaw was dislocated and most of his teeth were broken. The fan pointed out that fighters possess a level of strength that spectators often underestimate. The fan then tagged Conor McGregor and told him there was no reason to return to the UFC or fighting at all. He reminded McGregor that he has a beautiful family, massive wealth, successful businesses, and nothing left to prove after becoming a double champion. He encouraged Conor to protect his health and enjoy life. McGregor responded by agreeing and saying goodbye. The MMA community quickly reacted, accusing McGregor of retiring repeatedly for attention and engagement. Many fans said they stopped believing his retirements years ago and claimed he was never coming back anyway. Others mocked the announcement, saying he has been washed up for years or that he is avoiding matchups with fighters like Dustin Poirier. Some fans criticized the overall event, while others defended Max Holloway, pointing out that he has only lost to champions and is still in his prime at 33. As always, the comments were divided, loud and relentless, and the debate over McGregor's future continues.
We have been helping him out. We have been working with Shane Carwin for a long time.
White did